All right. Hi, all. To everyone in the room and those of you in the virtual space, we want to say a good afternoon and welcome to Words for You. We have a wonderful group of poets, storytellers, and even musicians for you. Now, it's important to know what makes this event so special is that each piece was written for an individual. So welcome to our unique experience. We also want to say a big thank you to the artists, patrons, and Festival of Words board members who have made this possible. Festival of Words is in its 15th year of serving Acadiana. Our annual festival on November 4th and 5th feature Ashley M. Jones, Poet Laureate of Alabama, acclaimed poet Clemonce Heard, and UL writer-in-residence John McNally. Check our website or Facebook page to find out more about all the events during festival. We also put on monthly events throughout the area, featuring 2 writers followed by an open mic. Our next one in January will feature John Warner Smith. Oh, and one quick note, we have a donation jar in the back and stickers for sale, so you always have a reminder of our wonderful events. Now sit back and enjoy. Our first creative up is going to come to us via Zoom. It's J.K. McDowell. They are a Gulf Soft poet, artist, and mystic, originally from the Midwest, and works almost exclusively in the American Ghazal poetic form. Let's enjoy.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my honor and pleasure to start this event off with a poem called Never to Release, commissioned by Toby Daspit. You know, poetry can be a cynical business. We seek imperfection, yet we share a candle and a mirror for such obscured delights. Hark the darkness. Rainbows are hidden within us. We are poets, and few know our plight. We will scribble phrase and praise on a drink coaster if we must. Our labors are late-night second-floor rewrites. The floorboards creak nocturnes with every single step. Even our ghosts are properly announced guests. We are well suited to a wager like Words for You. The muddy river runs deep, and I will not fold. The crowd waits for the reading of the last stanza. He leans on the podium, notebook open, a single cat hair on his jacket. James, hear words spoken with an unmatched, honest intensity. There is a thread to our friendship, stitched in Acadie, true to the toast and the praise. Timeless and staked to that, I hold fast, my friend, never to release. Thank you.
Next, we have Megan Breaux. Megan Breaux is a poet who serves as a visiting instructor within the College of Education at the UL. Oh, no, just at UL. The president of the UL College of Education Alumni Chapter, the director of college and career writing programs for the National Writing Project of Acadiana, and she holds degrees in English, psychology, curriculum, and instruction, and is currently in the dissertation stage of her doctoral program in educational leadership at UL.
Thank you. So I know I don't have a lot of time to preface, but I do have 2 poems. And I was commissioned by my daughter, Shya. All right, so this one is called The Baking of a Poet. Stress used to drive me to bake. There was something about bringing simple ingredients together, something about warmth making them more than they were, something about inhaling sugar-coated scents, Something about living vicariously through a rising cake that melted the stress away. I've been told that I'm nothing more than an oven. They see your daddy's face and your reflection, and they don't think that the baby's eyes will stay blue. But you once shared how your younger self believed that your daddy and I shaped you out of clay and breathed life into you with love. You described a vision of our hands shaping your wise eyes, molding your tiny nose, and twirling your signature curls. That's the exact moment I knew you were a poet, and I was in there somewhere. There's something about the way you bring simple words together, something about the way the warmth in your voice makes them more than what they were, something about the words lifting from the page that melts my stress away. Can't look at her, I'm gonna cry. Whew. I'm 10 years clean of my baking habit. Maybe you're an oven. Maybe we both are. Maybe all poets are. All right, so I have one more poem, and I do want to preface a little bit. So my daughter is a theater kid, and she is obsessed with the musical Hamilton. So this is called All the World, after Hamilton by Lin-Manuel Miranda. I was born in front of a camera, and it watched me find my happy place high above the ground, grabbing spotlight. I'll never be satisfied until you put me on a stage. Put me on a stage so I can rise up. I never lived on my knees, never helpless. I took a stand early and still refused to fall because I am not throwing away my shot. Put me on a stage so I can rise up, where I can see it all and watch your reaction as I bring the light and the action, because I am not throwing away my shot. Put me on a stage so I can rise up, where my feet don't pitter-patter, they stomp, as you watch me break a leg, because I am not throwing away my shot. Put me on a stage so I can rise up and gather ammunition for my Ivy League ambition, because I am not throwing away my shot. Put me on a stage, put me on a stage, mama, put me on a stage. Put me on a stage so I can rise up and break legs with glass ceilings on the Supreme Court floor in the room where it happens. Serving justice with a stomp so all the world can see. Just you wait. I am not throwing away my shot. Boom.
Okay, our next bright young star is Shya Hebert. She's a 10-year-old writer, actor, dancer, and gymnast whose soul is a Broadway musical. She is a 3-time winner of the Lafayette Public Library's Rites of Spring Writing Contest and a 2-time winner of the Festival of Words Youth Writing Contest. She has performed original works for several literary events, including Word Crawl in 2019, the Pieces of Hope Reading Series in 2020 and 2021, the Festival of Words in 2020 and 2021. She also read for Drive-By Poetry in 2020. Shya hopes to one day graduate from Harvard Law and eventually serve as a Supreme Court Justice.
I have 2 poems called Painting Words and have two poems called Painting Words and Simple Love on Christmas. Do you ever wonder how our minds sift through daily moments, images, sounds, and words, and carefully choose the special ones to be painted into our memories? How does the mind choose? Years from now, will I remember tonight as how I balanced my baby sister on my hip as she flailed her chubby arms at the row of books in front of us? Will I remember how her squeal of excitement as her dimpled fingers landed on the book call that would send her off to dreamland? I didn't know why she chose that one. It didn't look like much. If I sat with no jacket to protect it, its edges worn, its cover image fading, though I could clearly make out 3 dolphins leaping from a blue ocean. Inside, the pages were creased and tattered, but her tiny fingers chose that one, so I helped her to hold it with my free hand. As we walked over to you, I placed the baby in the nook of your left arm and took my place at your right, while carefully holding the book, so my sister and I could see. And I listened as the words from the pages drifted from your lips. I wanted you more than you will ever know. You said, so I sent you love to follow you wherever you go. But your eyes never met those words. Instead, your gaze moved from my sister to me with each line. And then I realized those words were painted across your mind, not only because my own tiny fingers chose this book as the one, too, but also because the words were true, and I hope that you would know. Whether my mind paints this night or not, wherever you are, my love will find you, too. My next poem is called Simple Love on Christmas. Christmas time is the highlight of all the adventures we have experienced together and all the beautiful memories we have shared. Breathing in the soft smell of freshly melted wax of Christmas candles drifting through the air, experiencing the magic smell of light from a thriving Christmas tree dipped in water to preserve it. Smelling the sweetness of roasting marshmallows reminds me of a soft, warm hug from you. Sitting before the crackling fire reminds me of my burning heart full of love for you. Watching our favorite Christmas movie together shows my love for you and our time together. Sharing a love for the Christmas season reminds me of my love for you. To me, you are the soft smelling of candles, you are the Christmas tree thriving with life, and your hugs are the fire to my marshmallow heart. And my love for you is simply my love for you.
Okay, our next piece will be coming to us via Zoom, and it's a song by Cornelius Eady, National Book Award winner and Pulitzer Prize nominated poet. Cornelius Eady has set his poetry to song with the Cornelius Eady Trio.
Grand Couture. Hey, should have grown up a long time ago. Hey, maybe the world has passed me by. Call on to the style, and the girls all say, boy, you're the crazy cat lady. Got a skeleton key, oh, but there ain't no door. Lazy boy, you're the crazy cat lady. What the hell are you waiting for? Are you waiting for? Hey, hey, hanging out in Grand like, friend, I told you so. Hey, I was a puzzlement to my friends. Hey, school mom could barely understand, and the gals all say, boy, you're the crazy cat lady. Found a skeleton key. Oh, but there ain't no door. Goofy boy, you're the crazy cat lady. What the hell are you waiting for? Are you waiting for? Hey, hey, hanging out in Grand Couture. Hey, missed that boat a long time ago. Hey, a small town needs a little oddball shine. So proud to be the one in mine. And the gals all say, boy, you're the crazy cat lady. Found a skeleton key, oh, but there ain't no door. Goofy boy, you're the crazy cat lady. What the hell are you waiting for? Are you waiting for? Hey, hey, hey.
Now we will have a piece by Dominick Cross. Dominick is a freelance writer and photographer who focuses on culture and the arts.
Hello, I kind of feel like romper room, you know, in my magic mirror I see Liz. But anyway, this is for Agnes Courville, who was going to be here, but her mom's not doing too well, and she may be heading back to France anytime now. So Agnes, if you're watching, best to you and your mother and your family, and Godspeed. This was untitled. Look for a sunny day, late summer, early fall. Find a hidden garden basking under that same bright orb. Listen for a romantic French song and happy canines, Mitzi and Sarah, that take her animal spirit and frolic by her side. What you won't hear, however, is her putting pen to paper or her quiet devotion. But if you put it all of this together at the soul of an activist, a Zydeco dancer, and it is here you will find the gladness of Agnes resides in Louisiana.
And now we have a piece by Mona Lisa Savoy. Let me pull her up. Mona Lisa Savoy, Ph.D., is an award-winning author and folklorist, an educator, and scholar of Creole culture and articles, documentaries, and poems about Black New Orleans. She is also the current Poet Laureate of Louisiana.
Okay, I'm really unmuted now. Hi, everyone. Thank you to Festival of Words for this honor. It's so great to be among poets. I wish I was there live. And my name is Savoy with an S. No dancing at the Savoy. It's Savoy. Just FYI. Okay, I'm going to read two poems. They're brief. And you can see behind me a lot of books. This is rebuilding my library after losing absolutely everything in post-Katrina flooding, like a lot of people. So it took 16 moves in 14 and a half years and 12 different addresses, and I'm finally home. So I have a grateful heart. Thank you, God. This poem is from my new collection. It will be out in the spring by UNO Press. And this poem will appear sometime this month in Poem a Day of the Poetry Foundation. So I'm very honored to have one selected for this month. And it's called God Was Willing, Sis, I'm Home. God was willing, sis, I'm home. Rebuilt our little shotgun house Daddy bought for $2,000 on the GI Bill post-World War II in the 7th Ward. Wide enough to love 2 families at a time, double. Long and thick like a bulldog, stocky with a sturdy gait, seemingly indestructible, with turn-of-the-century plaster and lath between walls held by red brick fireplaces. Anchors for kin to hold on to, steady, outlasting many storms. From Betsy to Camille, hurricanes that came and went like occasional visitors who overstay their welcome. Here, we saved every book we ever had, from old Bibles listing births, marriages, deaths, to Sherlock Holmes and the Harvard classics. 2 dictionaries, American Heritage and Webster's, plus the American People's Encyclopedia that answered questions Daddy or Mother couldn't from newspapers. The States item, but especially the Louisiana Weekly, where Negroes had starring roles as newly married or debuted, or swimmers medaled in photos with their part-time coaches, full-time teachers like Vic Vavasseur, who had their own kids too, who spent summers, Saturdays, and after school time teaching us regulation sports, from baseball, football, swimming, to supervised play, where we were all a team and neighbors, and grudges never lasted more than an hour or no longer than a busted lip that's gone when the swelling fades, and heals like our sunburns and summers between thunder showers we see coming blocks away. Our shotgun castle, our guardian of refuge from those Jim Crow days in our 7th Ward neighborhood, when we had all we needed for comfort and summer fun of shaved ice or hucklebucks, and winters without cold and no gunshots. And this is my honor to present to you a poem dedicated and in honor of and commissioned by Guy Kilchrist. And Mr. Kilchrist, I hope you like it. Words for you, sir. Guy Kilchrist. Guy's childhood of black and white TV shows, when Grandpa hitched and handled mules, watched him farm row crops, saw him stop 2 mules mid-row, taught them to gee-haw. Gee, mule goes left, haw, mule goes right, then ease off his straw hat, wipe sweat off his bald head brow, fill and relight his pipe before returning to gee-hawing those mules. His other Gramps, retired from full-time farming, leased the land to a sharecropper. Those boyhood days, Guy sat on the back porch, gazed across the pasture, saw a tenant house. A black family lived there, a mystery for him in Jim Crow days of colored-only signs, white-only signs. Guy's dad told him of working the field alongside a black man, equals, workers tending his dad's land, both men. His dad's lesson passed to 5 siblings, that everyone's just people, basic dignity, a right for everyone. Well, Guy found his voice. He lifts lives, found light to heal with words, for the broken, for the sick, those wounded by hurt people, those lost to battles of today. guide, a man of God's light, shows the way to peace. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Dr. Savoy. Next up, we have Sophia Hebert, who was born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana. She writes about everything and loved writing for Words for You.
So this poem is, are you Michelle? Hi. So this poem is from Michelle. She gave me a prompt instead of answering the questions. Sorry. And y'all teachers fuss at me for that. She gave me a poem. Her career is teaching teachers how to teach, and she wanted this as a gift for when they would graduate and go on to their teaching careers. This is called Dose. To teach takes two. Putting it simply, it consists of me and you. Pulling the straws and doing the math, I'll help you help others go down the right path. Paper to pencil, pencil to pen. The list of possibilities couldn't come to an end. Teaching takes a 1 and a 2, nuts and bolts, screwdrivers and screws. So take my trust and my words too. Keep them close before you whisper adieu. For I have taught you beyond a greater view. Now make do and put that bountiful brain to a good use.
Next up, we have a song by Clemonce Heard. Clemonce was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. He is the winner of the 2020 and Heine Robert Dana Prize, selected by Major Jackson. His poetry collection, Tragic City, investigates the events of the 1921 Tula Race Massacre. He will be one of the features at the Festival of Words in November.
On many of her words. This is Clemonce Heard. I'm looking forward to seeing you all for the Festival of Words in November. And this poem is for Denise Rogers, based on many of her words like rain and sting and plane and some other words. And the title is also from Denise, and it is Filled Back Up. Petrichor, I chorused to AJ after he'd asked me what I'd name my restaurant, if ever it were to be. Petrichor, AJ said his students could only use in one poem per semester, and so to use it wisely. As you can see, I'm using it twice, no longer petrified of grades. My last class was mostly spent aboard planes and above planes that resemble quilts. The farmland sometimes abandoned for lack of funds or rain. If staying came on the loudspeaker in descent, and if at one point drums were slapped with a brush that mimicked drizzle stippling a window pane, and if our pilot circled the port until even the pines with their tiered brows growing heavy heaved sigh after cold sigh, I would feel these rough times and lick between each time the dishwasher fails at times to reach. Listen, this business isn't going to run itself, and I have grackles the sheen of purple martins rifling through my garbage. If you want to help, smell this and tell me if it's spoiled or snake oil.
And now another song by Cornelius Eady.
No one's gonna catch me on my red back. No one can match me on my red back. Like a gull's wing on a gulf breeze, my red back. my foot on the pedal and roll away from the aches and shakes and bills to pay. The collector's waiting, but not today. Freedom, 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 come to me. Freedom, freedom, let me be. Pedal through the gentle rain, feel the coolness on my brain. Flush the grown-up blues down the drain. Down around the Gulf of Mexico, Louisiana's got some music to tame your soul. Steering my body to where I wanna go. Freedom, 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 come to me. Freedom, freedom, let me be. Tying out on my red bike, bye on my red bike. Catch you later, my red bike. Homing in on a easy breeze. Know there's something better waiting for me. Heard there's a reservation for my red bike.
All right, and now we'll have a piece by Guy Kilchrist. His art is driven by curiosity, sometimes serious and sometimes playful. Whether it be visual or literary, it is simply just another language in which to speak.
First, I'd like to thank the three poets who accepted my commission to write. So I thank each of you. And also the Festival of Words, because I didn't get a commission, which was sort of a relief, but I do get a chance to read, so I thank all of you for that. In keeping with today's theme, I chose a composition that's titled, "And Who Do You Say That I Am?" Father, son, husband, grandfather, leader, follower, teacher, student, scientist, engineer, deacon, sailor, veteran, answer man, gayo, gaibo, honey, hubby, friend, holy man, Satan, bull, rock, abuser, philosopher, musician, artist, power user, gentleman, too religious, arrogant, good man, neighbor, stranger, impotent, professional, homosexual, Democrat, Republican, independent, popsy, papi, babe, daddy-o, pops, war criminal, Mr. Bingo. I've even been called an extroverted introvert. Or maybe it was an introverted extrovert. Some built me up, others tore me down. Yet, there were only thoughts in the minds of men and women occupying the same house of cards. If 50 people know Guy, each will think a different Guy. If 50 people see Guy, each receive a different reflection of Guy. If 50 people hear Guy, each receive a different vibration of Guy. Yet, I am only one Guy. So now, who do you say I am?
A familiar face to us, Martha Garner. Martha is a retired early childhood teacher who is now following her passion for collaging, poetry, and nature. She is currently serving as Executive Director of the Festival of Words in Grand Coteau and President of Acadiana Master Naturalists.
My commission this year was kind of interesting because I was commissioned by somebody I do not know to write for another person I do not know. So this is for Jackie from her friend Zan Johns. How she loves speed, the thrill of a powerful engine at her command, the swoop of a hawk diving for prey, the sudden pounce of a lion on the savannah. But today, she is still, binoculars turned to the sky. She watches an eagle catch an updraft, wings spread wide. He spins in a jazz dance over the mountains. She dances with him, twirling and twirling among the snow-dusted trees. Following the mountain trail home, she sits by the fire and dreams of beautiful things. Her friends, a rainbow bridge to her parents in heaven, and all the miracles of nature.
Our next duo comes to us via Zoom, Carly Viator and Kelley Courville. This creative couple is based in Grand Coteau, with projects ranging from digital media and architecture to festivals and music. They're always up to something.
Sorry we couldn't be there in person today. We're Carly and Kelley, and we wrote this song for Olga. Thank you so much, Olga, for your contribution to the Festival of Words. We titled your piece Into the Night, and it goes like this.
Nightfall is near. She flies to the top. The leaves are all gone, the sounds don't stop, no one's around to hear. Wings open wide, face to the breeze, can't imagine a time when you weren't free, a spirit it moves silently. In the night, under the pale light of the stars of the moon, she moves in time, calls to the wild, her song. Shadows leap by. The wolf has no doubts. The mesa skies guide her now, and a howl carries out into the night under the pale lights of the stars of the moon. She moves in time, calls to the wild, her song.
right, live and in person, we have Clare L. Morton. Clare's books include Crone at Nix's Makes Books, Seek the Holy Dark, Yellow Flag Press, and Eating the Heart First, Press 53.
I'm really grateful to be here, and I'm really happy that we're all able to be here in person. That's really cool, and virtually. This poem is for Guy. I'm appreciative that you selected me, and it's the first poem that I've written in 2 years. I've really been silent, so I want to thank you for the inspiration. It's titled Vision Quest. In your high desert, conjure a roan mare in fertile heat, and spawn the uprising thunderhead with astral hoofbeats of lightning. With the wave of your hand, sunset consoles the grieving sand, and starry rain promises a redolent river. A singular vision coagulates in your third eye as the sun disappeared, abandons night to a street peddler's half-sleep. The you that is you was fragmented, a wish eager to reassemble. When you return to the home that is home, you are changed. So tell the unsettled skeleton who bags your lemons and tomatoes, I love you. And the hotel clerk with her pimply nose in a Bulgakov novel, and the sweaty taxi driver who wears a ribbon of lace, the visible ash of a phoenix feather in his pork pie hat. Sing it to the lopsided mathematician, the magician's half-cut assistant, and the squawking waitress whose vagrant green eye is camouflaged in neon. Tell the atheistic cat if he will listen. Just purr your breath. I love you.
Next, we have Melissa Bonin. She's a Louisiana Francophone and Francophile visual artist, lyricist, and poet. Her artwork and poetry reveal a deep love of the intricacies of the human spirit and a relationship with the natural world. Her work has been exhibited and performed in the U.S., Mexico, Canada, France, and Italy.
So happy to be here in person. Oh my God, this is exciting. I have 2 poems today. One I just wrote yesterday, so it's a little rough, but I just felt like it was important. Leather Soles for Joelle. She prayed on her knees in chapel. Leather soles of her saddle Oxfords pointed back at me from the pew ahead. She flicked her most likely to succeed silky hair, flashed her most eligible bachelorette smile, our funny girl. I lost track of her for a while, caught up with her in Houston. We hit the thrift stores real hard, bought secondhand designer shoes. She knew all the best ones. We talked about the environment, how New York City had banned plastic straws for recyclable paper ones, but she couldn't find a recycling bin on any street corner. How pleather shoes were not really eco-friendly after all because of chemicals and emissions, and how they hurt your feet. She was smart that way. She changed her Facebook photo. It seemed a strange expression. She died too young in the end. Plastic bag over her head, duct taped around her neck, praying for a peaceful walk into the afterworld, dressed in her red all-weather coat, leather soles pointing upward toward God. And this poem is to Joy Harjo, one of my heroes, United States Poet Laureate. Your poems are midwives. That was so Cajun. Your poems are midwives. Poems. After the devastation, you wade in deep floodwaters of forgiveness. You hand us rescued babies wrapped in poetry. Your poems are midwives of hope. These fine hope babies with their gum cries glow tiny naked prayers of possibility. Sun glistens through downy hair on newborn skin. Your words deliver faith and a call to wonder over Earth and her family. With a child's eyes, under relentless blue skies, we dream. We cradle your tiny prayer princes and princesses, precious eggs of endangered birds, your gift of now. Now, what shall we do? Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa, for such moving pieces. Next, we have Natalie Parker-Lawrence, MFA in Creative Writing at UNO. Her plays have been produced in Tennessee, Illinois, Florida, and New York. Her essays and poems have been published in many literary magazines, and she lives in Memphis.
Can you hear me? Yes? Okay, good. Yes, thank you for the invitation. I can see you. This is so exciting. Tracy commissioned me to write a poem for someone I didn't know, someone I've never met, and her name is Jazz. And so she's standing before you. Can you see her, everyone? All right, she lives next door to Tracy. So Jazz, this is for you. Jazz Hands is the name of the poem. Jazz Hands. She picks up Paloma with strong arms and soul-filled connections. As one of the aunties and the youngest daughter, Jazz inspires her family to pay attention and be proud, but more, she makes herself proud. Her dance with and without drama, her drama with and without dance. Being 12 is like dancing on tiptoes. Sometimes you gotta go high and soar. Sometimes you've got to go low and reel and rest. Touching down on the floor is hard because it's crowded here and there. People think they know her. They don't know her when she flies with the music and dances in the air, or reads about struggle, or talks about justice, or writes about containing the chaos of this world. A big job for anyone. Most people never get that high, but Jazz stays alight and enlightened. Like her dog Hula and the blackest of cats, Jazz twists and pounces. She creates whole worlds by lifting not a paw, but a curved hand or a painted nail or a pointed toe. Now and throughout life, she guides and will guide Paloma like a fusion of muses to sing and dance and shout and write. Her niece feeling the music and the words and the laughter and the songs. Whenever Jazz steps out, fingers splayed, braids down, flying into the light on the floor of the dance class, of her magic bedroom, of her garden yard, in fifth position, juxtaposed to Patrice and Olan. She opens her community, their memories, our world. Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure and a privilege. I want to meet you sometime.
And following that, we'll have Patrice Melnick. She lives and writes in Grand Control. Her most recent publication is a poetry chapbook, City of Hey Baby, through Finishing Line Press.
Thank Jazz for being our official photographer today. And I want to thank my sister, Susan, who actually sponsored several poems. She sponsored the one by Carly and Kelley, their song, and by Natalie, and by me. Susan, my sister Susan did not want a poem about herself. She wanted a poem about the relationship between people and dogs. And I did it in this beautiful shape. So
Can you guys see that?
So, concrete poem. This is called Nina Speaks Her Mind. If it's very smooth leather shoes and heels, be sad. She is leaving, car door bangs, and though I know she will return, she always does, my heart says she will never return until she does. Shoes with laces and rubber means happy. Time to make tracks through the park, bursting into morning air with fast, fast walk of optimism. Susan and I in perfect time. Same speed, same direction, same horizon. The best biped quadrupeds on the street, on the sidewalk, in the world. Make no mistake, leash is not limitation. It's electrified love line. Watch this percussive walk. Her step, step, my step, 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 step. And the sniff, sniff that brings my nose perfume of fresh cut grass, cat shit. Northern breeze, chicken bones, chewing gum sidewalk snacks. I collapse down. I am a grass rolling champ, but love tug means get up. And we're off across the park until I detect trouble. Must protect her from savage squirrels, frenzied infants, toxic cats, and man in uniform, danger, danger! And she pulls me back, so naive. And back to the step-steps, pants, and the yes, we're the best pair ever as we step in the front door. Her shoelaces loosen, fall off her feet. She pats my head. Her hand strokes my belly. This tail pulses against cool floor. My chin rests on Susan's gentle feet. Thank you.
And following that fun bit, we have Charles Claudel Garrett. Charles is an artist based out of Lafayette, Louisiana. He is widely published and has performed in Texas, Louisiana, and Alabama. He is finishing his 3 debut works, a collection of poetry, a novel, and a screenplay. He is the recipient of the New Orleans Take Notice Fund. When he is not writing or performing, he is spending his time writing copy for marketing teams across a variety of industries and companies.
Which one? Both of them? This one? First, thank you, Patrice, and thank you, Miss Martha. Festival of Words has been, you guys have championed and kept this midnight oil lamp burning for quite some time now. And, for postgraduates and non-academic folk like myself. So yeah, very, very appreciative. I wrote a piece for Shya Hebert, and I'm sure you guys listened to Shya, and she's not like, I've done this Festival of Words a number of times, Words for You, And writing for a civilian, I'll call them civilians, but writing for a civilian is a lot different than writing for a fellow poet. And she jumped into the pulpit at a very young age with a lot of gusto and a lot of, she was fierce. So I didn't want to write based on the words. I figured that would have been a little bit, I wanted something that she can take with her and it would last her, maybe she could look at it later on in life. Who knows? Wishful thinking. So I'll read to you guys. The piece that I wrote, I gave her some tidbits from Charles Wright. He wrote this poem called Body and Soul 2 for Coleman Hawkins. And at the very end of that, excuse me, the very end of that piece, he gives 4 life lessons. He says 3 that he learned from Martha Graham, and the others from here or there. That's basically how he explains it. So I use those as kind of like, an anaphorate. You can help me out there. What's a poem that you write after another artist, or that you do? It starts with an A. Come on, Toby. No, anaphora? Is it anaphora? Ekphrastic. There it is. Well, that's... Jeez. Yeah, problem with poets. All right, so, yeah. So, yeah, the piece, I'll go ahead and read this to you. And it's, like I said, it's broken up to the 4 lessons. And, it should be pretty straightforward. The first one is, think as though you thought best with someone else's brain. Then follows the healing. For that to happen, you must first detach. This goes against every will of every poet. How else are we ever going to feel thunder in someone else's way? 2, second lesson. Walk as though you had been given 1 brown eye and 1 blue. I thought a lot about how I wanted to begin this. As we speak, I am being moved by wind from the old word. The poets who breathed us in, who shaped and tethered us to the very sky we longed to create. Heaven, just as much a part of imagination as magic is of the soul. 3, write as though you had in hand the last pencil on earth. Young one, I remember the smell of fresh packs of paper and my early days in school, when I learned of the healing powers found in writing, in the decrypting. Even as I write to you now, I am, in a sense, detaching and defragmenting from the burden of carrying the universal key, what we call the writer's eye. Words will show themselves in. They will kick their shoes off, make themselves comfy. But be wary, because this is not their true purpose. And the last one, 4, is pray as though you were praying with someone else's soul. And put simply, I know...
I use lipstick or something on my...
Thanks, lady. Right at the end, man. That was the last line, bro. Typical. Anyway, no. So let me finish that. Yeah. So the last one is pray as though you were praying with someone else's soul, and it says that I know of a place where it all comes together in the end. Thank you.
Okay, wordsmiths and lovers, we are going to take a short 5-minute break to reset ourselves, but don't be late because upon return, we have a piece by Carey Hamburg.
Father's mule was that of plodding utility. He pulled the plow up one row and back down the next. He endured the curses and lashes of his servitude and the loneliness of his impotent breed. But that was not how I knew him best. My recollections of him now are of joy, feeding him watermelon rinds, hearing the staccato crunch of those huge mule teeth, seeing his eyes roll back in ecstasy, pure and guiltless pleasure in that moment. His lips and tongue reaching, straining through the fence to find yet one more juicy wedge. My grandfather's joys were more subtle, his scruffy old hand on the back of his scruffy old hound, a steady rocking rhythm in his favorite chair on the porch as he hummed Amazing Grace. The slight gleam of pride in his eyes if someone asked him about his famed turkey hunting. Did you really kill 3 gobblers in just one shot? Well, yes, I did, he would reply. He had endured the curses of trench war, poison gas, and the lash of the Great Depression. He held his pleasures tight and secret, as if afraid such unguarded excess would cause them all to be stripped away. I may have learned of stoic resolve from my grandfather, but from the mule I gained a vision of unbridled bliss. They ended their careers together that day the mule had finally had enough. Resisting a prod to move along, he struck a bone-breaking kick. That blow retired them both from the plow and the field and from life as they had known it. I don't know what became of the mule that day, since such things were not explained to a child my age. Maybe it was, and I've dropped that out of my mind now. Remembering more the ecstatic crunch of melon rinds and my grandfather's slow rocking hum on the porch as he passed his final years. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Thank you.
All right, next up in the line of Zoom performers, we'll have Richa Dinesh Sharma. She's an artist, poet, blogger, and writer based out of Singapore. Her works have featured in international journals, anthologies, and literary magazines.
Hello, everyone. For the record, my name is Richa, R-I-C-H-A. So we call it Richa. It's a Sanskrit name. And my poem today is for Zanetta Jones. She's a dear poet, a good friend, and I'm so delighted to be writing this for her. This is for you. It's called The Rising Storms. Clouds don't always play our games. Thunder at odds with our petty angst. Where in world do we swirl and blitz, but inside our words the rising storms? Powered on by a higher need, egged forth by the dark of the day, inside brews a potent mix of love, of loss, of the undying need to say. Long have woven thoughts been torn, long have they lain in cold and dark, their history peeled and painted over, their backs bear such welts and marks. On builds a thought in contemplation, flowing into stains, sheets upon sheets, one eager word after yet another, into white spaces where impossibles meet. In dying, of course, all writers seek, overflowing with ink, this paradise, to write upon rivers, skies, and earths, lies like truth and the truth of all lies. Trembling fingers, shivering souls, the view expands from the tower of sight, tides turning, skies changing, only the words that are torches burning bright. Such metaphysics in inked words, projected from the inferno of a troubled mind, the alchemy of darkness turned to light, to hold, scatter, and then again to bind. One day for sure, we will be silent too. Of course, we will lose our merry way, sitting on the lines, phrases, and fences before we are gradually led astray. Till then, thunder sometimes does our will, caught in words a cosmic bellow. Clouds too bring in their prairie idyllic toys, their hubris perhaps a little mellow. With the passing of our worlds and tomes, with every word that echoes through time, we must find a place to keep our voices alive for the rising storms to find. Thank you.
Next up, we have Liz Burk, who divides her time between Louisiana and New York. She has 3 chapbooks, Learning to Love Louisiana, Louisiana Purchase, and Duet, Poet and Photographer, a collaboration with her photographer husband. Her poems have been published in a variety of journals and anthologies.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? I'm reading a poem today commissioned by my friend John Romano, otherwise known as Juan. I think he may be gliding around Texas today. I'm not sure where he is, but Juan, I hope you like this poem wherever you are. The title is The Animal Spirit Runs Wild. And the epitaph is, or is it epigraph? Well, the subtitle is, No one knows who I am or what I do, not even I. From Carlos Castaneda, Journey to Ixtlan, The Lessons of Don Juan. His name is John, but we know him as Juan, not the notorious womanizing Don Juan, although his lean and brooding good looks could easily lend to such a life. Like Carlos Castaneda's Don Juan, who flew with the eagles, shape-shifted into crows, our Juan took flight from a tidy life in Wisconsin and came soaring into Cajun country, seeking a new way. Here in Southwest Louisiana, awash with sultry, sweltering heat and ghostly fog, where raindrops fall with abandon, even on sunny days, he found the comfort of a climate that matches his moods. Here, thunderclouds appear suddenly, like cords of strife between lovers that quickly dissipate, only to reappear once you think the storm has passed. Juan is a seeker, a gifted singer, guitar strumming, award-winning, accordion-crushing cruiser of life. He pounds the piano with aplomb, passion, and joy. His jazzy chords rock and roll with every band he joins, although at times he replays the same old song over and over in different keys. But like Carlos Castaneda's Don Juan, our Juan knows the only song worth singing, the only path worth following is the one with heart.
Now we have Gina Ferrara, who lives in New Orleans. She has several collections of poetry, including her latest, Weight of the Ripened, published in March by Dos Madres Press. She teaches English and writing at Delgado Community College and curates the Poetry Buffet reading series on the first Saturday of each month.
Hi, everybody. It's really good to be with everyone and to see everyone. And thanks so much to the Festival of Words just for everything that y'all do. Denise Rogers commissioned a poem from me, so thank you, Denise. And Denise shared that, excuse me, that rather than kind of writing poetry right now, she's been doing a lot of quilting, and her favorite place she shared is a gold meadow. And so here we go. This is for Denise. It's called Here to the Horizon. Before the poems take form, there's rain. This summer, ritualistic timbrels of it falling against the pitched tin roof, or glazing the gray slates. You notice the soft manifestations, how rain most afternoons sounds modulated, a soft harp, melodic as a drizzle, never discordant, no different than the cat when it walks along floorboards with certainty after it lands. Only your quilt will duplicate the possibilities of saffron meadows, visions not green but golden, with yellow rattle, parsnip, crowfoot, buttercups, cosmos, and Alexander. It all becomes a tactile genesis. The flannel patches you have chosen from ecru to ochre, stitched square by square, another form of bound pages where colors will not fade. They grow meadow rich with age.
All right, here we have Peg Ramir. She's a California architect, a Louisiana real estate broker, an artist, and the interim executive director of New Arts and Culture Collective in Arnoldville. And perhaps Peg is not with us at the moment, so we will move on to Olan Thibodeaux, who, bless you, who enjoys writing poems and short stories, painting, turning birdhouses into art pieces, but mostly he enjoys being retired.
Oh, thank you. This one I was commissioned to write for somebody I don't know. So I took kind of a general form in it. The name of it is Tea and Company for Carol Garner. Used to avoid my demons. Then we sat and drank tea. Added sugar, sliced lemons. They were not people like me. Tried to speak between the sips. Only one with a mask was I, and my words muddled at the lips. Each caroled poems aloud they felt I needed to hear. Measured words, admittedly, off rhymes were made clear. Beneath that tainted veneer, tall tales describing myself as thick, obtuse, and cavalier. Disrobed, including the mask, planned this move carefully. Some watched, no one asked, is love the same as liberty? 7 words that set them free. I can't change the world, only me. They did not finish their tea. Thank you.
And now we'll have Hailey Menard, who is a poet who captures the essence of writing life's book, filled with hopeful possibilities and reminiscent memories.
Hi everyone, my name is Hailey and I'm so honored to be here. I was commissioned by 2 lovely people today to read for. So I'm going to start off first with the poem I wrote for David Squires. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. It's called Pound Hound. On a laid-back morning, a view of Olmsted Park greets you at your window. Your loyal pound hound nudges you lovingly. Together, you greet the morning sunrise, howl at the moonlight, and breathe in the melodies, filling your lungs with the pound hound jazz. My second poem is called Angelic Creations for Suzanne. I hope I pronounced your name right. There she is, presenting her truest form, reflecting to all, her admiring beauty in her eyes. Favorites are a category. In her mind, passions blossom in Monet's garden. In her heart, her beloved cat, reading a Dracula book, is transformed into ethereal art. Thank you for having me and letting me read my poems. I appreciate it.
Next, we'll
Thank
have
you, Hailey. I loved it.
Next, we'll have a piece written by Jessica Goff. Jessica is a Floridian who moved to South Louisiana 12 years ago as a newspaper reporter. After absorbing a decade of all that goes with the daily news grind, she took advice from lyrics written by a certain singing mailman from Chicago. Blow up your TV, throw away your paper. She even lives in the country and has planted a little garden. Jessica is recovering today, so her piece will be read by Dominick Cross. And Dominick is not available at the moment. So we're going to move on to Katheryn. Via Zoom, Katheryn Krotzer LaBorde writes both creative and general nonfiction and is finishing her third book. This one is about Flannery O'Connor.
Okay, can I be heard? Yes, okay, good. Hello. All right. So this is not a poem, though it will sound like a poem because it's brief. It's actually a piece of drabble, which is a prose piece that is exactly 100 words in length. That, not the title, nothing else, just 100 words in length. This was commissioned by a friend of mine who now lives in North Carolina, but she's from Louisiana, Bonnie Blundell. I don't think she is plugged into this, but hopefully she has been given this because I wrote this for her. And the name of this piece is Horizon Blue, which I believe Horizon Blue is about that color. Okay. She joked that her eyes, though blue, were not bedroom blue. Really, it wasn't a joke. Her mind was focused elsewhere. Her soul sought deeper delights. That search brought her to the shore. Standing there, feet on sand, hands on hips, she watched water lurch and fall. She pondered how life moves forward in waves, blissful, painful, in waves. Standing there, she chose to look past the roiling crest. Instead, she gazed at the space where azure sky meets emerald sea to form a border, a line as vast as hope and the same shade of blue as her eyes. Thank you.
Ted, are you in the room? Olan? All right. Well, we'll come back to Ted. No worries. All right. So Ted will be joining us a little bit later, but he's here. So next up, we have Suzanne Wilkes. Suzanne is a Louisiana native and graduate of Tulane University. Her poetry has appeared in Spires, the Southwestern Review, the Heartland Review, and the Mockinghart Review, among other publications. She is a member of the Louisville-based group Green River Writers.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy to join you all via Zoom. I just have to add, since I last read with the Festival of Words, I was awarded an ACA Art Spark grant for a poetry performance project that's going to be happening this November in Franklin. I also received a fellowship from the Center for Black Literature, and I went up to New York in July and had a wonderful experience up there. And I'm happy to be affiliated with Festival of Words again for Words for You. So I was commissioned to write 2 poems. One was a very nerve-wracking commission because it was from my favorite English teacher as a child. So I will just jump into the fire and begin with that one. The Graces. Off the shores of a grand isle, 3 sisters emerge from the water. There is no Venus to attend. In the spring of their lives, they form their own center. Sly smiles hide secrets only sisters can share, even though their lovely faces echo the sisters who came before them. Whether waterlogged or tie-dyed or bunged up, the sisters are a law unto themselves. writing the rules of the game of their lives, braiding in kindness and caring, humor and intelligence. They skate, they swim, they smile, they move, yet they always swarm around each other, sheltering underneath Maddie's towering and protective maturity, even as she moves in new spaces, sustaining themselves with Alex Ann's careful warmth, whose arms reassure with the just right touch, sunning themselves by the light of Isabella's joyful and clever smile. These sisters delight themselves as they design a fearless and fierce future in which they will all take flight while we, willing witnesses, will marvel as they soar. And those are my words for Lana and Trent Downing in honor of their granddaughters, Maddie, Alex Ann, and Isabella Hamlin. Okay, my second poem that I was commissioned to write was by a soul sister of mine, Sarah Quello-Webster, who is one of the people who I have met during my numerous Zoom groups that I've joined in the age of COVID. So this is called Volume 1 for Sarah Quello-Webster. Part 1, Portrait. Sarah is beautiful in a way that sneaks up on you. Her kind eyes mask a surprising fierceness. Her smile is a just noticed hue on the horizon. Her voice reveals her power and her informed passions. Sarah is a woman ever reaching for wisdom. Part 2, a task. Pull down a blank book from the shelf. With a found feather, trace a sigil in the shape of your heart's desire. Sing a folk song in an ineffable language. Strike a blue-tipped match against an ancient stone. With its flame, light the hearth in your home. Scatter raindrops from a recent storm around its perimeter. Kiss your reflection in moonlit water, then whisper a secret to your water self. Win your way through the woods around the house you are turning into a home. Touch 7 precious objects. Dip a branch into a stream and anoint yourself, your husband, your children. Make a collage for your least favorite archetype. Read a paragraph from your favorite story to a bird overhead. Part 3, a title. Set down all these actions in the blank book pulled down from the shelf. On its spine, write Volume 1. Thank you, everyone. And I'll put my Instagram handle, it's Suzanne Wilkes Poet. If you want to get on my mailing list, just hit me up.
All right, gifting us again, we have Olan Thibodeaux. Okay, there we go.
The second poem was written for somebody who I know well, a neighbor of 18 years, so I had a lot to say. Okay, her name is Susan Sebille, and in researching this, I found out that the word Susan means flower in many different languages. Susan, Suzanne, Shoshan, all means flower. So hence the title, Flower Power. Her day begins as a new flower with a sleepy sun squeezing through the trees. She eats breakfast among chickadees or fussy squirrels out for a short walk. She gossips with the cardinals daily. The couple shares food at the table. Crows gladly trade their inky feathers for tortillas she serves in the open air. She teaches felines the art of civility, but they still leave bloody gifts at her door. Canines shake her hand like old gents. They bark and smile for more visits. Only hummingbirds love nectar more. Hums even if she knows all the words. Smoke signals with old autumn leaves. She visits her ancestors in the thick haze. Brings frail flowers to an ocean's edge. She feeds them seafood and sunshine. Over lightning bugs, she'll say prayers, then send them off to the peoples in need. She rooms above a row of armadillos. They dig lullabies until sleep is found. Love keeps her warm on gloomy night, sleeps on the sacred circles and visions. She dreamwalks to the Milky Way. Falling stars and rising wishes mix here. Places her bluebird hammock swing in a turtle shell with carved oars. She floats to St. Lily of the Mohawks, visits on the river of grace and souls, and they sing psalms in unison to love, for family and flowers and forever young. Thank you.
And next up, we have Ted Thibodeaux. Ted is a musician who lives in Baton Rouge.
How's everybody doing so far? I was chosen to write a song for Oliver, and Oliver happens to be my nephew, and he also happens to be a teenager, so it's a little bit of a challenge, but just think teenager.
Options are shrinking 'cause I don't fit here and I don't fit there, but I get along almost anywhere. So let me go and I fly and I'll see the other side of life, the other side of life, the other side of life.
Next up, we have Valentine Pierce. New Orleans poet Valentine Pierce has been writing most of her life and performing for nearly 40 years.
Hello, Ms. Valentine. I was commissioned by someone I don't know to write about someone I don't know. So we're going to have some fun here, and I'm hoping my journey back into brief journalism got me all the answers I needed for this poem. This is for Michelle Kramer, for her parents, Terry and Mike, and it's called 34 Years. And I call myself putting it in voices. We'll see how that plays out. Okay. Terry, 34 years of laughter and tears, a glass of wine, a bottle of beer. You quoting Seinfeld, me gritting my teeth. You work my nerves, you really do. But how could I ever stop loving you? Some days I think I should run away to the beach, but you just follow me to the sandy shore. So I might as well relax in the afternoon sun, delighting in the little piece of paradise we created. Mike, remember the night I asked you to dance and you set me aside? I got that dance anyway, and my heart's been dancing ever since. You sort of popped the question, didn't you? Being the smart man I am, I agreed. Don't expect to challenge me to a game of chess. Or test your Spanish on me on a quiet afternoon. I'll just take a good long walk or drive to Sonic for tea. Want to go with me? Both. So equally matched. We've been living, learning, teaching, and loving all our lives. Humor, determination, and generosity. Love's calm, patience, and thoughtfulness. Traits marvelously reflected in the two babes we raised. Looks like we're going to be together forever. Want to go for a ride?
Next up, we have Phyllis McLaughlin-Nauman. Phyllis is excited to return home and participate in Words for You. She is a contributing author to Turning Point Moments, compiled by international bestseller Christine Closer. Her poetry can be found in Mocking Heart Review, Work in Progress, Angel Fire.
And I'm super excited to be home. And I was also honored. The last writing group I was in before I left at the end of 2019, I met poet and writer Mary Beth Broussard, and she has asked me to write a poem. And there she is. Okay. Midsummer Dream. Born into sultry summer solstice heat, stamped with the crab sign. She is water muse. To the water she returns over and over, a cycle. To pray, to play, to immerse herself in the coolness, the baptism of lake waters, soothe her body, mind, and soul. Paddle, stilled across the cockpit, one hand steadied on cypress knee. She loves immersion in nature's milieu. Spiraling gray Spanish moss provokes a heart journey, propels her out into the great spiral galaxy. Beads of sweat cause her own mahogany spiral curls to cling, and she tastes the salt sea. Living water meditation. Birdsong cuts through her reverie. A whiskey-voiced bark announces, startled, great blue heron. A totem who moves easily between air, land, and water. Standing tall in the shallows a solo fishing sovereign bird of prehistoric proportions. Night music, a loud chorus of cicadas, crickets, locusts, and frogs will fill the air at dusk. Now, dragonflies circle over the nearby grasses, hinting that this is a magical time. There's a permeable veil between the worlds. What is the message in this moment? Like the oracles at the ancient stone circles, words hold sacred power for that solstice-born woman. She offers others a chance to gather the world in prose and poem, to root, stand tall, to find their voice. A love gift. The deepest lovers, those crab sign born, quiet, fierce, feminine love. The shape of her life held in her heart, a container of precious secrets and wise knowing, a place of respite for her husband, daughter, sons, and dear friends. Her life purpose unfolds with the time passage. She knows that love is both immortal and vanishing, like the morning mist over Lake Martin. Mary Beth is a beacon who sends out light waves. Then, knowing the tidal rhythms awaits the return. Thank you.
And now we have Tyler Robert Shelton. Tyler is the author of 6 poetry collections, including When to Ask for Rain. He is also editor-in-chief of Mockinghart Review. Okay.
It's so good to see everyone again. It's been so long. And this poem is for Martha Garner. It's called What No One Tells You About Living in Louisiana. Living in Louisiana means that each morning you can marvel at phone lines full to their brims with birds, and some of those birds have learned how to scream like fire trucks. Living in Louisiana means you learn to love the rain, even as it fills up your street like the canals of Venice, even though no one comes in by a gondola to rescue you from your suddenly more watery casa. Living in Louisiana means you get to feel warm and breezy, hooray, but even when you don't want it, even when all you need is a cabin in the mountains, and it doesn't matter which mountains because they're all less humid than here. Living in Louisiana means you drive by the road sign for Rosedale and think, yeah, just like Robert Johnson, except that Rosedale in particular is in Mississippi, and here selling your soul means learning to eat crawfish only to crave them until the very end of all time. Living in Louisiana means that driving slowly is to travel in vain because everyone will pass you or ride your bumper for miles, and the rules of the road are only suggestions, and no one here is feeling very suggestible. Living in Louisiana means summer is wanted for murder and all of the other seasons are dead. Living in Louisiana means crying over their graves until nearly all of the year is gone and then marveling as winter rises, a chilly Messiah to save us all. Living in Louisiana means friends become family and everyone seems to have a dog you can pet or the best gumbo ever you just have to sample. It means that everything will eventually be okay and we'll all have good times along the way. Thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Toby Daspit, who is a professor of education and department head of curriculum and instruction at UL Lafayette. He is emeritus consultant for NWPA and is the founder of Improving the Blank Page. Toby has published 2 chapbooks and is completing his first full-length collection of poetry, tentatively titled Kintsugi. All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Festival of Words. I just have to say that. And I was commissioned by Guy Kilchrist as well. Thank you, Festival, for not telling me that he'd also commissioned the Poet Laureate and Claire Martin. It's called Who Do You Love for Guy. 1, who do you love? Brush of your smile, rivers of brain surge, time, rainbows, spider's web. 2, who do you love? Rattlesnake rivers, unzipped sky, synchronized dancing, slithering upstream. 3, who do you love? Beach shimmer horizons, evenings blue black cadence, wind sighing, universe exhaling. 4, who do you love? Slow shuffle rhythms, delta roots, snowflakes in the summer, dissolving on your tongue. 5, who do you love? A few weeks ago, I was watching a documentary on rock and roll with Mom. They started discussing Bo Diddley, black and white footage of his guitar slashing beat, as only one brewed in Mississippi heat and mud blood could conjure, and overlaid his Who Do You Love? I walk 47 miles of barbed wire. I use a cobra snake for a necktie. Come on, take a little walk with me, Arlene, and tell me, who do you love? My mom jumped forward in her recliner and repeated the question, who do you love? I rode a lion to town, use a rattlesnake whip. I was waiting for her to say my dad's name, buried less than 2 blocks away. Night was dark, but the sky was blue. Or his kids' names, including my brother, buried in the same cemetery as Dad. Or maybe even God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit. Hit a bump and somebody screamed, you should have heard just what I seen. I would have put money on it, but instead she shouted, me, and then settled back in her recliner. She spends most waking hours in, same as when Dad was in his recliner across the room for 68 years. Nodded her head, repeated, who do you love? Touched her breastbone, me. Me.
And closing us out today will be Dominick Cross. Dominick will be reading Jessica Goff's piece. You remember her. She's blown up her TV and thrown away the paper.
And if I may add to that, she also worked at a newspaper and a TV station, so I understand. Okay, this is was commissioned by Patrice Melnick, and it's a little short story, and it's pretty clever, just like Jessica. All right. Patrice likes listening to the radio on road trips. Not the talking heads, religious, or political types, but the local stations with local commercials and sweepstakes. Sometimes on long drives, she'd play along and participate. But it was a surprise to her when she got a call from an unknown number saying she was the lucky winner of one ticket. Yes, just one ticket to a mystery artist at an undisclosed location. All she gathered from the excited radio-centric voice on the other end of the line was that she just won something. She was already outside of Albuquerque when she received another call providing the I can say this word, providing the specific location to the home of someone only addressed as D, who she'd be visiting as the lucky number 7 winner. Traveling for business, but with time to kill, Patrice figured, why not? But not without a phone call to her partner, Olan, and her grandson, Oliver. Letting loved ones know you are driving to a stranger's home in rural New Mexico seemed like a fair safety measure. Knowing Patrice's adventurous side, they've always supported her streak of spontaneity, but always with a small side of caution. The ranch was on the outskirts of the Carson National Forest, with little marking the property from the road but barbed wire and a faded Christmas wreath barely hanging on the front gate. The winding drive led to a small Pueblo home guarded by a barking, rotund pug that waddled its way to Patrice's vehicle. That's General Patton, the small blonde who looked to be in her mid-70s, said as Patrice reluctantly stepped out of the vehicle. He makes a lot of noise, so you can't miss it when he's coming for you. The wildlife out here doesn't even mess with him. The general, sounding like a broken garbage disposal, decided to investigate Patrice as Dee walked her into the casita. The woman was sleekly dressed with southwestern flair that matched a quirky, colorful home filled with native artwork, collections of 70 playbills, mostly from music venues around New York City. An unopened fruitcake package propped open the door of a small kitchen where Dee was preparing tea. People think I'm a city girl, but out here is where I really belong. I sense you are a little bit of a coyote yourself, she told Patrice as she handed her a mug. I'm Debbie, by the way. Thanks for listening, reading, and enduring this intro to When Harry Met Patty. Note from Jessica.
And with that, our unique experience comes to a close. But first, let me say a thank you to all the artists who give their talents, time, and a bit of themselves to make this wonderful experience possible. You guys and the patrons make all of this a shared reality we can have and just sit in together. Have a great day.
I just wanted to mention that if you have not yet gotten your fill of poetry, Toby and Tyler will be reading on Wednesday night at Beau Soleil Books in downtown Lafayette. I will be there.
It's going to be awesome. Like this has never been seen.